Well, here we go, Carmel. This is season 2, Mancave Classified. We did 13 episodes before. I think it was okay. I was excited about um, the content, the friendship, the fun times we had in creating all that stuff, the silliness, the stupid conversations. I think that's really the kind of thing that guys are missing, and there's a lot of seriousness going on out there.
Yeah.
What are those two brothers' names? The twins. They're funny as all get out. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, they have like a podcast.
They spin off each other really well, and they're twin brothers. I think they're cops or law enforcement.
Are they black, light skin?
Well, I wouldn't. Why do you name it like that? Like, what
We're
do they
just
have to do?
we're just
Why are you
clarifying.
always going to make it a black thing, Carmel? That's what I want to ask you. You know what? I
I
said
don't
to
know.
you when we were first checking on lighting and stuff, because I don't like the lighting on my face right now. I said, Carmel, you look dark. And you're, oh, we're going to start it like that.
That's
You know
not fair.
what?
I mean, that's what I'm used to.
I wasn't trying to make it racial, but if you want to
But it's funny
make it,
because it's interesting if you have to describe someone or say to clarify who they are. If you bring up any racial description, why is it always
hey,
about race?
hey, pull that microphone up. I think you're a little distant on the mic. Let's
How
do a
about that?
test. Make sure we got it. You good?
Yeah. Yeah, people always say like if you have to like describe a person, if you bring up the race, it's like why are you making it racial? I'm like I'm describing them. They're Asian, they're black, Hispanic. I don't care, but I know I believe you're speaking on two black guys who happen to be light skinned black guys who talk about
Now, okay, so stop right there. Let's talk about that for a sec.
yeah.
My understanding, according to many a people, that
Mm-hmm.
if you got a drop of white blood in you, you're not black. As a matter of fact, he brought it back to a point that if a person had a drop of black blood in them,
Mm-hmm.
they would profile them, but they would call them something. I forget what it was. And it was those guys talking about it because they were taking it real personal how, automatically, if you're half white, half black, that you're just black. And that's not true. You have a white family, you have a white heritage, you have a white lineage.
Yeah, I
You don't
mean,
agree? Is that because you're mixed?
well, wow.
Do you try to identify? What are you trying to get the discounts?
I want whatever's owed to me.
Here we go. Here we go. Okay.
So, so okay.
And the term is entitled, my brother, my brother. We
What
are
about that?
not entitled, man. We got to earn everything. You feel
Well,
entitled still?
that's true if I'm given a fair shake to earn it, which
Oh, hey,
I haven't been.
you haven't been given a fair shake to
No,
earn
of
it?
course not.
How
You,
so?
do you believe that I was given a fair shake as any other white person from the jump?
In
I'm
a
not
lot
saying I
of
was.
cases, more so than me right now, because I can't get the college opportunities that you can.
Oh, colleges are already a scandal to begin with. We're not going to. I
Well,
don't.
we know that. We know that. But the point being,
I'm
the
so.
point being, I
Let's,
can't get on an NBA football basketball team or a football
oh, that's
game if I wanted to because I'm white and they're going to hire the guys with the extra muscles in their legs.
okay. Well, that's God given. We're talking. We're
Doesn't
talking.
matter, man.
We're talking about exposure to resources that
Okay.
systemically, programmatically, we were not given the opportunity. I'm just
Hey,
talking about
so
the last 4 years.
that's a great point. That is a great point. However, it's completely crushed in the model based on the topic of the show for tonight.
Okay, okay. Let's dig
We're
into that.
talking about a billionaire named Diddy, right?
Right.
Oh, last I checked, he was pretty dark skinned, right?
Very dark skin, about as dark as
Well,
me.
what opportunity he did he not have growing up? Phew,
Well,
brother,
he
he
did.
took it.
He's definitely
He took the bull by the horns, and yes, he was putting it right here in his lap over and over, but he took the bull by his horns.
So is that the opportunity? So that's the way to get ahead, is if you're getting
No. But that's what the culture's creating for itself.
well, the culture. So which culture are we talking about? Because the hip hop culture prior to 98 was completely run by those who invented it. After such time, it is not our culture anymore. The culture of hip hop you see now is not ours. I
So
mean,
I have seen those shows where the guys are talking about the opportunity of coming into a meeting at a big house in, Beverly Hills, and they were forced to sign NDAs and all that stuff. And then they basically said, hey, before it was this, now it's going to be this. And all the music industry changed from helping people come out of the hood, aspire, sing songs that were good for their race, their people, their life, what have you. That they were going to move the rap hip hop culture into a guaranteed environment where they would have to sing about gangs and rapes and whatever they sing about now. Now, isn't that still a choice that culture, that race, what have you, took upon themselves and said, yeah, we're going to go down that road for ourselves instead of.
for sure. I mean, yeah, it's all a choice. But if someone presents you with an option to get yourself out of the hood, and all you have to do is make some music that maybe not be the most uplifting or positive, I can't fault for someone for taking it. But then for that now to be the umbrella of the culture is the issue, because it's not, but it's what's prolific now. And a lot of that has to do with those who control music and the media. Prior to that, hip hop was its own small little genre that people, rap wasn't this big deal back in the early 90s, mid 90s. It was very, very, very hyper focused in the black culture until it became very popular. People started loving it. And then you start seeing the most, uh, how should I say, most record sales being in the white community for black music. Once that happened, things shifted. Then you start seeing what you have today. Now now hip
Mhm.
hop is probably the most popular genre of music there is. You don't see anyone having these conversations about rock and roll. Grunge, heavy metal, uh, country might be the second most popular, right? And look what happens. As soon as Beyonce decides she wants to make a country album, it's an issue. So, like, we don't control the music that we make anymore, and that's a biggest thing you hear in music is controlling your masters, right? It's not a coincidence. It's called masters.
Mhm.
Now, speaking of Diddy, uh, his story is very interesting. He got his start in hip hop. He was an intern. He used to be a dancer. Uh, he wasn't very good at his job. He got fired. I think he was at A&R or some music group, whatever. But then that same year, I think it's the early '90s, he got fired. He started a record label. How do you get fired from a from a record executive job as an intern, but then are able to start your own record label the same year?
I don't know.
Well,
Oh,
uh, there's
obviously, that old thing that we've been acknowledging the last couple of years, thing called black privilege. It's pretty obvious to me that he spent some of those black privilege wallet dollars.
where do you get where does he get those black privilege dollars from? I mean, I can tell
You
you.
know what? You know what's sad, Carmel. To speak to your race, it is a widely known fact that the people that, and I personally, and my friends that are in the movie industry, and it seems like for a black person to become successful, hyper successful in the movie industry, he's either gonna, pardon my French, suck off some producer, or he's gonna wear a dress and do whatever they want behind the scenes. Um, and I remember, Kevin Hart in the very beginning saying, "There's no way you will ever catch me wearing a dress. No way." not only did they put him in a dress, they embarrassed the crap out of him with, and then all of a sudden he's superstardom. All of a sudden he's whale. And that goes to the controls of Hollywood over people, which is a whole nother story. But that's what Diddy was doing. He was controlling Hollywood, controlling politicians, and this is why they're raiding his house, and he's comfortable on the beach, checking his cell phone, getting ready to board his private jet and come home. It's not a big deal for him because he knows who he has on a leash.
Right.
And I would be highly suspect if anything happened to Diddy. I think they were just trying to clean out, protect themselves from, whatever he was filming, and he knows where the recordings are, and I don't think they have access to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I mean, I think people are going to start realizing a lot of the connections between stuff Diddy did and stuff Mr. Epstein did, and the people who are in between both of them.
Epstein was a pure guy, dude. What are you talking about? He was white. What could a white man do wrong?
Is he white?
I think so.
That's a whole other story. Are Jewish people white?
He's an absolute embarrassment. I don't mean I don't mean anything I'm saying when I say that stuff. I'm having fun with my buddy Carmel.
I already know. But in terms of Diddy, like, as a person who grew up in hip hop, and the golden era of hip hop, for anyone who loves hip hop, which is like early 90s, mid 90s, that era of hip hop, there's never been anything like that. And most people who don't know hip hop that well just kind of think all of it as being the same thing. But that era was probably the most pure and the most successful and the most impactful era of hip hop. And some of the names people have heard, from Wu-Tang Clan, Tribe Called Quest, even like MC Hammer, who was like a pop star of hip hop, or Ice Cube, NWA, all that came out of that era. Those songs are nothing like what you see today. Those artists are nothing like you see today. I mean, the effeminate hip hop star now is easily the most like known entity in hip hop. And those who love hip hop don't even consider that hip hop anymore. But you see it, genreized, if I can use that as a word. That's still hip hop. Like, no, it's not. But the people who control the narrative, the stories, award shows, and best hip hop album goes to someone like, man, that's not even hip hop. Who's setting that tone? Same people who put people like Diddy in their place, in their position. And
so is it the white man?
Do we want to be specific? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Let's call a person's name out. If people want to consider him white or whatever he considers himself, Clive Davis is a person who got Diddy's started, funded his first record label, and has been in control of his trajectory ever since. Now, interesting enough, Diddy's dad was also a retired Air Force. So what his connection to the military, the government, we know there's a lot of talk and been rumors of years of the CIA, FBI controlling what is consumed in terms of the media.
Which is kind of what they're saying about Tate.
So do you think Tate's controlled opposition?
Let me explain, brother. Hold on a sec. Probably one of the most bright guys in the world. Now, I'm not putting down Muslims whatsoever, but I've read, anyway, I'm going to be careful, and only because I think a person's faith in God is important to keep. And I believe that the Muslims believe that they are worshiping the same God that I worship. They call him a different name. Most mainstream Christians call God by the wrong name all day long. So on that note, I give a lot of flexibility and stuff to people learning through their religious ways and coming to relationship with God. I do not believe, a Muslim is going to go and meet 72 versions. Is that it?
Yeah. That's the number.
Yeah, when they go and blow a bomb up and kill 25 people or what, I don't believe that. But as we're studying all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, and we're studying what's happening with the release of all this information with the hip hop and Clive Davis, and I would call it, instead of a white culture, I'd just call it I wouldn't even call it a Jewish mafia, because I don't believe they're the original Jews.
No.
But they call themselves Jews. They believe in their Jewish faith, although Clive Davis probably believes in a completely different faith-based thing than I do. But I think the Jewish mafia, quote unquote, is 100% in control, and I think, unfortunately, it's been acceptable to do the things they've done with many, many of the movie industry stars. Let me explain something. I told you this story in a previous episode. My buddy T had a friend, a group, band get a deal, record deal. They were having a record deal signing party, and when they went in to go to the signing party and party and have a good time, the contract was on the table, and they said, before you sign that deal, you got to go in that room right there. And they opened the door and walked in the room, 3 out of 4 of them. And the room was full of naked men having sex and doing horrific things to one another, all on film and so forth. And from that point forward, they're caught up in that whole thing. And here's another way they get them, the quote unquote Illuminati or whatever you want to call them. And I don't have any problem with, people that want to tell the truth. I'm actually proud of them, but they are very specific about how they groom these guys and how they get them in, and it's in the process. And Diddy, allegedly, and it's pretty compelling evidence when you take a look at what happened to Usher, when you take a look at what happened to Beaver, or what's his name?
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, not the Beaver. And 48 hours with Diddy and how that went down, and it was not a good. There's a lot of film footage that really outs what Diddy did to him. Not necessarily showing it, but discussing it. And Usher was sent to the hospital at age 14.
Yeah.
There's video footage of Usher and Diddy as 2 grown-ass men talking about fighting over the Rice Krispies or whatever, Cocoa Puffs or whatever they're fighting over, in bed. And they're discussing this openly on camera, how they were hanging out, laying in bed, and they were going to fight over who was going to get the Rice Krispies first.
So what's funny is this stuff is not, it's news in the way it's been brought out, but even you go on Wikipedia and read Diddy's story, it talks about how Usher moved in with him when he was 13. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal till you hear this stuff. Like, why would as a dad, as a parent, why is my son in New York living with some other dude? Usher had parents. It wasn't like they weren't like around. He wasn't like an abandoned baby on some street stuff. Hey, I can dance and sing for money. Why is he living with Diddy?
Well, it's pretty obvious to me. Usher paid a price. Would you agree?
Yeah, completely. Now, this evidently is not new. As you mentioned, this whole ritual about going into some room and seeing all this has been done for years. There's rumors of it. Quincy Jones back in the day. There's rumors of
A black man.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, yeah. So what's that?
On the top. Let's just stay there for a minute.
Okay.
That underprivileged black man.
Yeah.
Took an industry and owned it. Yeah, he did it probably in a ruthless way, but I just didn't think. I think that black privilege card that he had, really paid off for him, don't you, Carmel? Just saying.
For sure, totally paid off. I mean, still making money. I guess,
Did you see that Richard Pryor show, that comedy event when Richard Pryor outed all the brothers next to him? How what's his name? Gosh, I forget the comic's name. He's all, we all know you were on your knees sucking that white man's dick. Straight up, just live roasting the dude. It was a roast. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh.
See, when I haven't seen it, but I imagine when people saw it, they took it as being funny.
Yeah.
And it's probably the truth.
Yeah.
Now you go back and look at a lot of things with a different scope now. You're like, wait a minute. For one big example, and I shared this with some buddies, probably the same week the whole Diddy stuff went down. I went back and watched probably his biggest video, which is Big Papa, the Notorious B.I.G.'s second song, but it's probably bigger than Juicy, which I don't know if you're familiar with either one of those songs. But if you watch the video, and if we could pull it up right now, there's some very interesting. I'll send you the link. I already have it put up.
So okay, so you're gonna. All right, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen for us.
I'm gonna send it to you right now.
There we go.
You're gonna.
Let me get it in theater mode. Now we're going to play this. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna play this, and then mute website notifications. I don't know if. Let's see if hopefully it's going to record the sound as well. Here we go.
So in this video, there's two particular scenes coming up. The first one is right now. So they're showing ladies in the bathroom doing their makeup, getting ready to go, dance, drink, and have a good time, right? Keep playing. Now they're going to show the men's bathroom. What is going on here?
It's a guy with a D.
I have seen this video a million times growing up. Never thought once about this part of this video till right now, or till this whole Diddy thing came out. Now play. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the ladies. No need to be greedy. Pause it. I showed this to some buddies 2 months ago, and every one of their mouths was wide open. Like, we have seen this 1,000 times growing up. Played this video, never thought a thing about the girl walking up to the stall and dude seeing her pull down her panties and go pee. Why is that in this video? It's not addressed, has nothing to do with the song. It's just out of nowhere. Now, it gets better. Hit play. There's a love interest in this video that every guy is trying to go after. She comes up in about 20 seconds. Keep going. Well,
you got to remember, we might get clicked on a copyright. So
you want to
all this may be moot on YouTube. Anyway, let's go.
Okay. So this is the love interest of the video. I remember back when I watched this video, I didn't ever think she was that attractive. There was other attractive women in the video, but for some reason they made her the feature.
She was at the toilet.
No, it's a different woman or different person. Sorry, different person. So the point is, there's multiples of these. So biggest dang, scroll back a little bit. You can see the biggest dang Adam's apple on a female I've ever. Bam.
Her?
It's a guy.
That's a guy.
That's a dude.
I don't see it.
You don't see the Adam's apple?
No, I see breasts and soft shoulders.
There's no breast on that person.
And bro, I see some curve right there.
Those are not breasts. Keep playing.
Okay.
Girl, right there. Okay, that's a woman. She's 10 times cuter than this dude on there. why they picked her or it or him.
Keep playing. Are we done?
We're done. It's enough. So anyway, the point is, a lot of this stuff has been embedded in hip hop, or seeds have been planted. We just didn't see it. And Diddy has been at the forefront of most of it. A lot of his music video, and there's guys who have left the camp, like Mace, who was a big Diddy artist back in the day. The Locks, who have come out and said some stuff that, hey, we got away at the right time, because a lot of people who were under Diddy died. Big Papa, Craig Mack, Andre Harrell, a lot of people who were around during that time is no longer with us. Why? Why are that many people dying around you?
Is Tupac still alive?
I don't know, because the thing about Tupac is he was an interesting character in the fact that he said a lot of things that were incendiary, controversial. He pushed the narrative for Black people and this and that, but he also did some stuff that was just like, typical, thuggish gangster rap kind of stuff. So it wasn't very positive. I always used to say this, like how one song you're talking about, "Dear Mama, I miss my mama, I love my mama," but then you're like, "I got hoes everywhere." Like it's just didn't really match. But Tupac was not a gangster, and that's the thing people don't understand. He was an actor. He grew up in the theater. He went to a theater performing arts school, and he was not. There's videos of Tupac talking where he looks very effeminate and very gay. Yeah, he's about 17 and he's talking to a reporter, and he looks nothing like the guy you saw at the end of his career.
So what's Jada Pinkett Smith's tie? How did she meet Tupac? When?
In high school. They were both at the same performing arts school.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if he was an effeminate, that's the thing that turned Jada Pinkett Smith on. Because she used to throw, according to the rumor mill, she would throw Will Smith under the bus and tell her own husband he wasn't as manly as Tupac, and made him feel like a piece of POS,
So Tupac as a character, he was a really good actor. He had a very dominant presence in terms of the way he rapped and all that. But like people who really love hip hop, and I've had this conversation before, none of us, I'll just say myself, but then the people who also I've talked to, ever considered Tupac the best rapper in the game at any time. He was just a figure, right? He was well known, he's very famous, but none of us was like, "Oh, Tupac's the best," until he died. Then he became like this, bigger than life figure. But during the time he was here, even to this day, I've never played a Tupac song on purpose.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, the only reason why I asked the question is because music that he has keeps coming out. Last I checked, I'm not 100% on that whether it's coming out anymore. But bottom line is, why do you think a culture is like imploding on itself? I mean, do we point and just be respectful with this question and know that I'm not trying to, shove a culture down, but there's some reported facts that there's more black on black deaths and black on black crime. Why do you think that is? I mean, is it this meeting in the mid 90s and the shift of music and that kind of influence? Because is that what we have to blame? Do we have to blame a lack of a father in the home? I think those numbers are still coming out that, what is it, 75% of all black homes or something? It's a really high number where the father isn't there. Do we blame that, or how do we look at this? Because if we're looking at, like what you said, you don't have a fair shake in life, let's start with the black family. And let's start with the white family, and let's start with who's hurting who. Because we might, it could be that the white man has got some nefarious plan to be able to do all that, You know, I mean, I know for a fact they developed feminism just to get the women to work and get them out of the home. I get that. And that was a white family. Well, I mean, all the major families are white. Um, so I do believe that there's controls in place that can keep an entire culture down. I do believe, you know, it's like I would watch this video yesterday, and this guy shows a world map picture, and he takes Africa. Africa is like 8,000 miles across, and he takes Russia, and Russia's only like 4,000 miles across or whatever it is. But Russia's this big, Africa's this big.
Seen the same video.
And I'm thinking to myself, that's actually, that makes you really think, like, what is the purpose? Like, how mineral rich, how beautiful is Africa? What is, why, you know, you look at a culture like the quote unquote Jews that reoccupied Israel in the 40s, and look at what they've done as a culture in 80 years. I'm no matter whether they're Jews, Israel's, or Zionists, white men, whatever you want to call them, and women, they have done something phenomenal in in creating a lifestyle for themselves. Why can't a culture in Africa do that? Why are they still living in the old ways? Then you have to ask yourself, how long has the robbery of the minerals of that culture been going on? And is that why we're keeping them down?
So it's layered. Part of the issue is, soon as you start bringing up some of this, I know a lot of people want to look at you like, oh my God, this is crazy. There's no way that's happened. They want to be very Pollyanna about stuff, because you start digging and it gets worse and worse and worse. And
I agree.
I'll just start now. Like in the last 60 years, Jim Crow was in the 50s. So we're talking just, what was this, 24? In the last 60 to 70 years, have we actually begin to have a fair shake, right? And I'm just saying so that's still within a generation or two. So my mom grew up in that. My mom grew up in Jim Crow. So if we're still just taking that alone, she's still here. So when I say like a fair shake, I don't mean like today. Like my kids, you know, can walk outside, go to school, get a job, yada yada yada. But I'm talking about as a general basis. If you go back the past 200 years, I'm talking generational. There are people who have had a credible head start, who have had not had land taken from them, who have not had the inability to go to school, have not had loans not given to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that today we don't have the same opportunity. What I'm saying is, my generation of people, 3, 4 years, generations back, had things taken for them or wasn't allowed to do the same things. So that's the one thing. If we want to talk even like on a global scale, in terms of Africa, no one talks about the genocide that King Leopold brought on the Congo, where they killed over 10 million of the Congolese people because of the minerals and the sources. We're talking Cecil Rhodes, we're talking all those people who came over there, and they don't talk about what they did to get all those diamonds and how many people they killed to get them. And yeah, why do I need to make Africa seem small? Because I don't want you to understand how precious it really is. Because if I tell you how massive Africa is and how much gold and resources and oil and fruit and land, I want you to think of it being Ethiopia. That's what we see all the time. It's Ethiopia, it's Rwanda, it's civil wars, genocide. I have buddies who are Arab who vacation in Africa. They're like, there's more beaches in Africa than anywhere else, and they're gorgeous. And there's nobody there because they don't want anybody there. I had a buddy say, hey, he's from Jordan. He's a buddy. Next time you want to go on vacation, let me know. We go to Africa. I'm like, really? Say, I'll take you. Beautiful. He shows me a picture. It looks like Hawaii, Aruba times 10. Why do we never hear that? because again, it's if I keep it down, I keep it hidden, and I keep robbing it, you're not thinking of it. China's out there robbing it. France has been robbing it. Germany, Italy, the the Vatican. Why do we always see why do we always see these museums in Europe full of African artifacts? Why does the British crown have a diamond from Africa? Get your own diamonds. Why are you going to Africa to put a jewel in your crown? But that's been happening for centuries, right? So my
So
point
bring it forward to today,
today,
America. Let's bring it forward to the fact that America was conquered. There was tribes all over America, the Apaches, the Cherokees, and even those tribes were conquering each other. There's this big fight today about giving back what was stolen. And you take a look at the generations that have been raised today in these societies that are largely Indian territories. And it's a massive alcoholism rate. But yet they have homes, no payments, no worries, not a care in the world. When they're done with the car, they leave it and buy a new car. Hey, I mean, they're doing it to the children of today. They're, AI is the future, and I have a feeling we're going to be at complete and total war with AI probably by 2040, 2045, somewhere in there.
sure.
Whatever that means, whatever that looks like, Terminator or what have you. But it's kind of amazing that today in America, there's still an argument, and it's 300 years later, Carmel, 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
Still an argument of people saying, well, we were slaves. We had oppression, sure, 100%. And we have been trying as a society to correct that in the last 100 years. And we had the civil rights movement that changed the elements of black only bathrooms, white only bathrooms, black people in the back of the bus. I mean, there's been a major advancement, if you will. I just think ignorance, any government that is allowing for that to take effect without controls governing all men were created equal, supposedly. Why are we having blacks on the back of the bus? Why are we having to eat at different tables? Why are we having black owned schools? Why are all those questions if all men were created equal? It's obviously a dividing, just like they divided us back then, they're doing it today.
Right. It's different, tactics now. Same things happen.
I think they're all testing it. Everything is one big test just to try to prove a point where, we have, if a country is divided, if the people are divided, we're screwed, as a nation. And that's really where we're at. You got the most horrific people in office. You got open borders. You have division of, it's ridiculous to listen to people demanding, and I'm being very honest with people. If somebody wants to come up and check me on the street, please, I encourage you to make me try to label you how you want to be labeled. I'm going to do my best to notice if you're a man dressed as a woman. I'm not going to refer to you as anything just to not offend you. I'm going to ask your name, and if it's Cindy, I might balk and laugh a little bit, but it's not because I'm trying to hurt somebody's feelings. It's just, it is what it is. Why are we now the crazy ones when that was crazy behavior? Literally, it would put you in a 5150 and you would get a 3-day hold no matter what. If you were caught on the streets dressed as a woman, you would be considered, according to John Hopkins, mentally deranged. And it's the percentage of people. Now, I'm not putting that in totality down. I'm just saying it's a very, very low percentage of people. And the problem, Jordan Peterson says it the best: do what you want. I don't care. But the second that you make me as a government or as an individual say, I have to do something. That's the problem.
Correct.
I don't have to do anything. I'm a
That's
free man.
that's always been my thing. Like I don't care what you do, live your life, but as soon as it interrupts mine, like if you're telling me I have to uh, somehow or another treat you a certain way, my request is that you leave me alone. How hard is that? I don't understand why I have to now change my view. If I see a red shirt, it's a red shirt. No one's telling me to call it blue. But why do I have to call someone who looks, again, that looks red, I call it red, someone who looks like a man, why do I have to call them what they think it is? We went to school for all this stuff at one point, right? Now all of a sudden we're changing because you want it. So I'm saying then we could just do that with anything. Why do we have to have any labels, names? We call anything what we want, right? But someone is telling us to do this for a reason. And my own thing is always about the agenda and the end result. What do you ultimately want me to do or think or feel? Because something's coming behind it. There's going to be massive change, massive policies that are going to, for some reason or another, affect a large group, and then someone's going to benefit from it.
Yeah, but what's crazy is there's nothing being done about it, Carmel. You look at Congress today, and they're all crooked. And it's like
Because
when
they'll
a
benefit
company
from it.
can, yeah, when a company can do unlimited donations to an individual, that means that company can do it on both sides of the tracks, which is why we have rhinos. This is why we have 100 Republicans voting for Democratic issues that don't serve the class, don't serve their people, and they know it. People have been bought and paid for, and it's a sad society that we're in. And I am really upset with how things are turning out. And I'm going to make a prediction. I think America is going to be staunchly divided physically as a nation. I think we're going to potentially see different areas of America being called different things. Um, I think West Coast is going to be China 2.0.
Mm.
Um, and we have to. I'm seriously going to learn Mandarin. I love California. Um, I can't stand China, but I think China's going to have an understanding that they can. They're not just maybe they are, but just come over here and do a hard enforcement on a third of the U.S. population overnight. You know, Carmel, I had 30 men at my house last night
Mm.
from the neighborhood. We are developing a community, and I said, don't raise your hands, kind of a thing. We all know we own firepower. How many of you train? How many of you want to train? How many of you are even slightly worried that this is the election year? And I said to them, I said, do you remember what happened 4 years ago? I said, do you remember cities burning? Do you remember Chazville in Washington? Do you guys remember those things? I go, you don't think that that's not going to happen this time? I go, if it doesn't happen, I can guarantee they believe they have a shoe in on the election. And I go, and then what then? This country's gone. I go, and this is what I'm not going to stand up and tell these guys. They've sold us out. They've sold our lands, our ports, all the land around military bases that is being sold to Chinese companies. This is ridiculous. How there's no security interest for America, and we're all divided on topics of Diddy. We're divided on how many people are being suppressed, and you know, and no offense to the culture, or no offense to black people or Mexicans. My daughter, who is a half Mexican, is playing that race card at her school and paying zero fees for going to school. If you put white on the application, you're done. And she's being integral and honest, and she is half Hispanic, even though with the last name of Smith. She at least is able to get the benefit of the race. And so, Carmel, there is no white grants that I know of. There's scholarships for people that earn them. There's scholarships for people that play well. but there's just as many for a black individual or a Hispanic individual. And it goes back to asking ourselves those questions. It's like, who was the most suppressed people on this nation in the last century? Do you think it was black people, or maybe was it Japanese people?
But Japanese people got reparations.
You don't think black people got reparations?
No.
And what kind of reparations did Japanese people get?
You receive monetary reparations. Now, also going back to the thing you meant about
You
Native.
don't think black people have received monetary reparations?
Say it again.
You don't think black people got the same thing?
No, we've been talking about monetary reparations for decades, and it's supposed to have come up again in some bill in Congress.
But that was for your grandparents, man. That wasn't for you.
What I'm saying is, what we should have gotten back then that they didn't get, if they weren't suppressed, we would be further ahead economically. And that's
you know what we need to flip this to is an understanding of, instead of race, because whoever these power brokers are, they're coming against you and me and Hispanics and Asians. And when you take a look at the birth bond and you get your mind wrapped around the bankruptcy of the United States, and how they made everybody the surety and the collateral, the reality for us is we all should be getting reparations for the money they stole off these bonds they created using our birth certificate. That's a major reality. And there's some people out there that have figured out how to use those funds, and I don't, until it becomes a generalized thing, which I think it's coming. I think they're gonna,
you think they would? I mean, I think that's the fact that it's not general knowledge is like, if you figure it out, okay, we'll pay you out, but we're not gonna. I highly doubt. First of all, they can't pay everyone out. We don't have any money. Secondly, I think that's the biggest issue with all of this is knowledge. And we've talked about this at length about, knowing how to speak and using words and the court system, even birth certificate and birth record. Like it's though, I've talked to many people about getting the live born record versus getting a birth certificate. Like there's so much layered misinformation that we've been taught as truth that once you start trying to dig into that, people just buck. What? That makes no sense to me. I don't want to hear that. Like and I've said this several times with the term Indian versus Native American. Both are wrong. Both are wrong. But you tell someone that, like, what do you mean? They were Native before it was called America. So what is their name? Like, if I ask you what your name is, you tell me Kelby, I tell you Carmel. I'm not going to call you something else that I make up or that someone else made up. What are you? They're Creek, Chickasaw, Sioux. That's where they're not Native American. But if I keep layering stuff on top of it, then it draws you further and further away from the truth. And then making money, like it's not even about the money. Again, it's about education. So yeah, all these guys like the Pachanga Indian, I forget what the actual tribe is.
What is the new homeless name? Do you remember that?
I know what you're talking about.
First one to get it gets $10. Unhoused.
Unhoused, yeah.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, somebody coming over the border was an illegal alien. And they flipped it to undocumented worker.
Mm-hmm.
Now the homeless is unhoused. So houseless, unsheltered, starting in 2019. So I'm wondering what law was created to benefit the people over the new. There's got to be something that they're making money on people that are homeless. You know what I mean? There's got to be.
Of course.
It's just like in San Francisco, they were getting $750 to be on the streets. They were paying them per month just to stay on the streets.
Stay on the streets.
Well, that's really what it is. I mean, if you're able to get your unemployment, you're able to get your food stamps, and you're able to get that bonus, you're now making a couple grand, and you're living on the streets, and it's comfortable, and you're saving money. I'm sure these guys.
So see, that's the thing is where I'm sure the state, because they have this number, can say we need funds for blankety blank, and they can keep pulling this. And the more they keep, it's the same way kids go to school. They need to
100%.
have butts in the seats to pull funds to say we need to, educate these kids. And those kids are not seeing any of that money. And the simple fact of the matter, they're being treated like they're in prison to begin with. It's not really school. I mean,
Right.
slamming a kid in the chair for 6 hours in a cold, dark room that's like looks like a prison is little, and then you finally let them go to get recess for 15 minutes, just like you do in prison.
Did you see the white high school girl slap her black teacher, and he just went off, took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves,
No,
said, stood over her and yeah, dude, oh my, and then just slapped her silly. And he's like, I don't care if I get fired. You know?
I mean, we're
he,
seeing it a lot more now, where kids are just getting
out of line, out of line.
But again, it's prison mentality. So now they're starting to riot. They're attacking the guards because essentially teachers are just prison guards. They're not really teaching the kids. They're not educating. And I brought this.
Bro, that's a great subject matter to talk about, and I believe what you're saying is legit.
Yeah,
I think people need to revert from public to private, and it's a sad thing that we're not taking that a lot more serious today, because that's a very real position.
I mean, we put kids in school from 8 to 3 to teach them how to work 9 to 5. You're
Hundred
not you're
percent.
not you're not trying to make people who are
No
going
critical thinking.
to.
Um, Subjects that. Why wouldn't you want to teach entrepreneurship?
They don't
Why
want to make.
wouldn't you want to teach the fundamentals of starting a business? Why wouldn't you want to have a marketing, um, accounting? What they're teaching kids is worthless. I have said this. I said it to my daughter. I said, I love you. Appreciate the fact that you know calculus. You will never use it again after this year. I'm right. She's wrong. She's not ever going to use it again after this year.
No,
But she was in college AP calculus her senior year and got an A.
sounds good.
And no, I mean, I couldn't do it.
Impressive.
I couldn't do it.
Same here.
And I couldn't do it. I don't understand calculus. I don't understand trig. Barely get my mind wrapped around algebra. So
I took
for
physics
all
in
you
high school.
mathematicians, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, Carmel, what are you thinking on what's going to happen? What's your guess on Diddy? And can you please explain to people the title, No Diddy?
Yeah, so we'll get that first because no Diddy is an extension of the old phrase no homo, right? So and after between no Diddy and no homo, there was pause. So if a male said something that was slightly um, could be taken as being gay, innuendo or double entendres, you know, uh, we would say no homo. Then that became pause. And now it's no Diddy, which is hilarious that this guy's become a moniker for non-gay sexual activity. And there's a new rap song out by Gucci Mane called No Diddy. Yeah. So what I think is going to happen with him is um, eventually he'll come back. I think whatever um, stories he has, people he have, some dirt on, they're just going to make sure he doesn't open his mouth. And what's interesting is I think the public, and the public always does this. We always get an idea, we vilify someone, oh my God, and then we forget. He'll come back 3, 4 years, he'll probably be on The Voice. They'll put him on X Factor or something like that, and we'll forget about it. Um, I think the people who outed him, I think it was Cassie, who's an artist of his, she'll probably go away. What's more likely to happen is those people who are trying to bring him down, we won't see. And I'm not going to say anything other than that. I don't want to wish that on anybody, but if you look around him, a lot of people are no longer here. So whoever tried to get him on this one, they got really close. And I don't think people like him or in that position, they're not going to get outed because they're going to reveal someone above them. So they're not going to let it happen. So no matter what people do, if I'll go to the news is controlled by that same person. Oh, I'll go to the cops, same person. So you're better off just getting your money and going to Aruba and enjoying it. Like you're not going to get them in trouble.
So there's a thing, one of the things that we need to talk through is Sting is probably going to be really bummed in what's going on because Diddy pays Sting $3K a day for the use of the. You ever hear about this one?
Oh, for the Every Step You Take sample?
For the sample part of the song, yeah.
Wow.
$3,000 a day for life.
Wow. Which is
That's about,
interesting because that song was done as a tribute to Biggie, who many believe Puff got killed.
who
So
many
that's
believe what?
Puff got Biggie killed.
So you said a name, Puff, P. Diddy.
Was
He's talking
original. So this is funny. His original nickname was Puff.
Carmel is speaking about no Diddy.
Now you look at all his names. Now there's a lot of innuendo in his names. So
Well, brother, I mean, there's multiple people that are firsthand witnesses to guys, getting it and receiving it. Firsthand watched it from P. Diddy and paying tribute, paying for the contract. And today it was the first time I ever heard that Usher was living with Diddy.
yeah,
But look at the power. Usher is he's standing in front of a billion people at the last Super Bowl. Getting paid a lot of money, and that was Diddy that put ultimately him in that position, and that's power. And those guys are willing to sell themselves out to get into these power positions, and to any degree. Carmel, I got to tell you something. If we ever were to get some big contract, like say Joe Rogan,
mm-hmm.
and that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to have fun with a friend and deal with man issues and deal with what's going on in society and talk about real things. And yeah, I mean, you're a white man with some dark skin. Um,
Okay. All
but
right.
and I'm really a brother with some white skin,
For
where it
sure.
counts.
For sure.
But um, but it's friends being able to have conversations that are real. And it's the first time I heard that you thought about repercussions, payments, money for something that happened to your grandparents, and maybe that's a dialogue that we should be entertaining, because payments on something that I mean, we how far back do we go? How many generations do we pay on? And how divisive is that? And
I think
let's.
I mean, we don't, we have to go into it deep today, but like, you know, if we look at, Jews who were paid reparations, Japanese were paid reparations. Um, I mean, if you want to say the natives in terms of the casino money, but that's not the same. A lot of cultures have gotten reparations. The problem with Black folk is we don't have a nationality. When you say, any other culture, there's a singular place you can still link them to. We don't have that. Um, and that's part of the
You
problem.
do, though. You were born here.
But I'm not called American. I'm called
What do
African
you
American.
mean? No,
I'm not
that's your own doing. I don't call you
I didn't
African
do that.
American.
I didn't label
I didn't even
myself.
call you black.
I don't even label myself Black.
I said you're a white man pretending to be black with dark skin.
I'm neither white nor Black.
Well, for the record, are you any white?
I'm Creek and Chickasaw.
So you just identified with being something somewhere.
because those are my people.
And you just said you're not. You don't have any origin.
But
What is it? Do you or don't you?
listen, is there a Creek nation right now? It's gone.
Dude, is there a Bohemian nation? No, I'm Bohemian. French, German, Greek, and Polish. Do I even want to say Polish?
Why not?
For some reason, there's a ton of really good and funny Polish jokes. I mean, that's the ultimate reason why. I mean, but the fact remains, I still, do I identify as any of those, or am I Californian?
Now, you could, so for me, I could go and claim my Chickasaw and Creek heritage and receive some benefits from it. I've had family who have had houses. You mentioned houses. I've had family who've had houses built, land given to them because of their heritage. So as far as the Black reparations thing, I'm not saying all of us deserve something, because I also don't believe slavery happened the way it's been told to us. So that's a whole nother conversation. But as far as like,
I believe whites were enslaved first. I think the slaves came from the very word Slavic, which is white.
Well, this whole language isn't ours either. I'm not from England.
I'll give you that.
You
do look a little English.
What's that?
You do look a little English.
Do I really? English profile? I definitely have an Indian
pompous, profile. Pompous, little arrogance.
Oh, I'm 100%. I'm all that. Yeah. I agree. I'm very pompous. Well, then
when your beard grows, when your beard goes gray, are you going to be so ashamed of the color that you dye it dark again?
It depends if it's patchy. Like, I've seen some dudes with nice white beards that look smooth. I would go with that. If it's like
Michael Jackson's skin when he was going from white to black, or black to white.
If my beard's patchy, I'm a darken it until I know it's all white. Then I'll let it go. Like Deion Sanders. If you see Deion Sanders' beard, it is clean. It's a nice white beard, and he lets it grow out from time to time. I would do that. If it's patchy, nah, I'm straight. I'll wait.
Not me, man. I'm gonna stay dark as long as I can.
Really?
I'll be like 90 years old in the mirror.
You got all these wrinkles, but a clean beard line. That's gonna be.
Yeah, my wife would be 10 years gone, maybe at that time, and I'm gonna be swiping. She looks cute.
If you can do it without getting arthritis cramps.
Does she wear Depends? Can you imagine? We got to do a show on retired dating.
You're swiping left to right. They wear diapers in their profile.
We'll come with some old stuff on, and you know.
Oh, that's hilarious. Not honestly. If I have my
if you wear a dress, we'll get rich quick.
Let me tell you what. My daughters last night, I went to go visit them, try to put a wig on me. I nearly threw them out the room.
Ooh.
Don't even play like that.
Don't even play like that.
Don't even play.
Hey.
Wigs.
You notice these nails are not colored.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And that's another thing people are not realizing, how many little things and signs they mark their new, what should I call, person with. These dudes in the NFL, NBA, college coming up, they do a social media post and their nails are painted, gone. They're done.
Do you remember how angry you got at me when we talked about your Family Guy? What's his name? All-time point scorer.
Oh, LeBron?
LeBron.
What'd I get mad about?
I don't know. I said he wasn't a good man, and for a lot of different reasons, and you got mad at me. I sent you a picture of him in some pink dress.
Stuff and all that.
He does this whole little thing before every he does this whatever.
Yeah. I don't believe that's evil.
You don't believe it's evil?
No.
666. You don't believe that's evil?
Nope.
What is it?
It's a symbol.
It's another show. It's another show.
Use it any way you want to. Is a knife evil? Is a knife evil?
Is a knife evil?
Yeah.
One of these.
You have a knife. Ooh.
The basket's blade.
Is it evil? Or is it
it can't be evil.
Is it how you use it?
It's how you use it. Hey, one thing I got to say to all the people that say the words gun violence, you're going to use gun violence, you better use fork violence for all the fat people. Because there's obesity running rampant in this nation, damn it. Those forks are feeding us.
Yeah. Forks are doing more abuse than guns are. By far. Killing way more people.
By far. The last I checked, I've never seen a fork hover, scoop up, and put the food in my mouth, and I've never seen a gun shoot and kill somebody by itself. I've never seen a knife enter flesh by itself. Now, those are the things. Those are the idiocies that we got to change, especially in Congress. Man, you got Congress talking about gun violence. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
But you know why though?
Oh, they want you guys
towards something.
It's going towards something, correct?
So that's the thing. We know why they're doing it. It's the people who don't, because we're the small percentage of people that get it and say, wait.
Well, they ran the test in Africa, brother, and it worked in Alaska or Australia, and it worked. They made it illegal to own 90% of the style of guns, and everybody turned them in, and they were the most suppressed nation on the earth when it came to the COVID shutdown. They're the testing platform for this whole thing. Anyway, Carmel, I think it's been a decent first episode for our new season. I appreciate you. Let's at least do this once or twice a week just to throw out my 2 cents and your 2 cents on a subject matter.
My 2 cents worth the same as your 2 cents?
No, mine are obviously worth more because I'm white.
Exactly. Mine are worth 3/5 of 2 cents.
Apparently, I've got this privilege that I have not figured out how to cash in on. I don't know where to cash in on it. I can't get a loan. I can't get all the, and that has nothing to do with credit score. One of the things on the app says white. Nope, get out. Get the F out of my front door. We have a white privilege mail. Hey, dude, I think.
So here, wait a minute now.
I think white people are going to be one of the most hated groups, and I think white Christians need to watch their ass.
Well, Christians are a whole nother topic, but you could write down whatever you want on that application.
That's true.
You identify as, right?
You identify. Ooh.
You're the one saying white. You could
when I was pulling a lot of money out of an account one time, like 4 or 5 years ago, when they started trying to ask you what you're going to use it for, I'm like, I don't need to tell you. They're like, you do. And I'm like, penile implant.
Have a good day, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll write that down immediately.
It's like, okay.
Proving Caucasian.
Okay.
Blessings, brother.
All right, man. Love you.
I'll see you soon, man. Have a good one.
Be good.